Simon, if we keep talking about any breaks, then he's not able to cut.
You just cannot jump in.
Keep speaking really over.
Trip, do you think it would be a bit like if we did some casting gigs? We could just keep passing it back and forward. We could talk about that bit, and then I could just pass it to you.
He's done. He's done. Over. Push the point instead.
Well, okay. Sorry, everyone. We just killed Push the Point.
He almost certainly is left because he realised he forgot his beer because he forgets every single time.
I know. He's just using it as a fancy excuse for the fact that he's forgotten a beer.
New trimmed down.
Look at it, there it is.
He's got beer in his hand.
Yeah.
Classic.
Called it.
Love it.
No, I already had it. I just got another one.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So, should we just keep
home news?
Home
news.
There you go. Right.
Okay, is it 2 claps or 3?
1, 2, 3. Home news. 1, 2, 3. Home news. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. It is 3. Oh, I bet that's really loud on the mic. Sorry if you're listening with headphones.
No, apologise to me because I've got to edit that shit. Anyway, I'm not.
No.
So,
who's going first? Hamish.
Murder mystery.
You've been to a murder mystery.
I went and dressed up as I was Rusty Mike, the bounty hunter pirate, or was I? I was actually a man called Calico Jack who was after someone that trashed my ship, and I needed to get a crew together. And I did get a crew together, and we took over the ship. Now, that's in character.
A mutiny.
It was a mutiny. Now, I brought rum, Dead Man's Finger banana rum.
Why is the rum gone?
It was. I drank it all. The whole bottle.
Yeah.
The whole bottle.
You could tell because you
yourself.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never walked into a murder mystery, had a whole bottle of rum, and now looked in the mirror and thought I have aged. Literally aged. I have aged more. I had some little wrinkles there, and and it's still there. And I think, all right, okay, I definitely went out and got wrinkles from it.
I hear Dead Man's Finger's quite a good rum, though.
It is very good, and I was steaming drunk, and my poor 3-year-old daughter was knocking on the bathroom door the next day going, "Oh, Daddy's not well." It's like steaming as...
There's nothing like children to rub it in, is there?
Have you ever...
Daddy's not well.
Have you ever had that, Simon?
Yeah.
Very, very drunk, very hungover, and the kids are about.
Absolutely. And they pick up on it straight away, and they're like, "Daddy, are you okay?" And you're like, "No, I'm not feeling well." And they're like, "Oh, Daddy, I'm sorry." And then you're like, "I know that's lovely that you feel sorry for me, but I did it to myself." Like, you just want to tell them, "I did it to myself. Don't have any sympathy for me."
No, but what you really want is for your wife to sort of go, "Don't worry, I'll sort it out." But that doesn't actually happen. They go, "Right, let's get to work." No work. Just laying, please. So that was my weekend.
The question is, when your other half gets line drunk and hungover, do you take the kids?
Yeah, of course I do.
Do you go, "Right, I'm going out for the day"?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, we both do it for each other, to be fair.
Oh, well, Faye doesn't. She's like, we've got loads of housework to go on.
We try and give the other person a lie-in as well if they.
I know. I'm trying to think. Did Faye? Yeah, she did actually. She gave me till 10.
Oh, that's amazing. 10.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, to be fair, Freya was.
And now you're saying that she doesn't do anything for you. Wow.
Oh no.
Wow.
Well, I thought I was still like. Anyway. Yeah, okay. Obviously, I'm living in luxury. I'm spoiled. Wow. Or whatever.
10 o'clock, everyone.
Trip. What about? 10 o'clock, boy. Trip. You don't even get out of 10 for any reason unless it's work.
I also went to a murder mystery the night before Hamish. Mine was murder on the dance floor.
Was it 80s themed?
It was 70s. It was set in a 70s New York disco, and the DJ was murdered. It was very fun. I don't really remember a huge amount of it because I didn't drink rum. I took a box of red wine and drank quite a lot of that. It's very tasty.
Like a litre bottle of red, like a litre.
Like 3 bottles in a box.
Oh,
so
you remember?
2.25.
I remember. I was the murderer, so I remember that.
Oh wow!
You murdered that wine.
Yeah, and the DJ. But it was good fun. I was also hungover but I woke up at like 12
Oh,
o'clock, and then I went to Weatherspoons for lunch, and then I
Pip,
went home.
Pip barely knows that there are 2 10 o'clocks in the day, Hamish. That's the.
that's true.
I have a
He
9 to
knows
5
one.
job, guys.
He's heard
I
vicious
do.
rumours.
I'm not aware of. I normally wake up pretty early. When I'm hungover, I just stay
Yeah.
in bed for a really long
That
time.
sounds lovely.
Yeah, but it's
And then
really
it was
weird
fun.
though,
It's a good time.
because if I was actually if I didn't have any kids when I was hungover, I just wake up and feel like I need to get moving. But now that I've got kids,
You want to stay in bed?
I'm just like,
No
I just need to remain. In fact, when I go through this process, I say my fae just goes, look, do you want me to run you the tomb?
What?
So I call it being entombed, which is basically a bath. And you get in the bath, and I'm
so confused.
So when you get in the bath, I just call it
Like one of those isolation pods, like the sensory
something,
deprivation.
Yeah, but I think of like Tutankhamun and.
Have you seen Stranger Things?
No, of course I haven't.
Oh,
I saw Daredevil.
shame.
Oh, that
counts, right?
Wait, so you just get in a bar, like
I get in the bath.
like a hot bar?
I do. My hands go like
like an empty
across.
bath?
No, run bath,
Like a hot bath.
Yeah, hot bath.
He lays like an Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah. He'll lay
that
like
made
the
me feel
Egyptian
worse.
pharaoh.
Or Dracula, maybe.
Yeah, or Dracula, and I keep still
Okay.
and remain
not
there.
want
An
just,
hour and a
greasy
half I
feet?
lay in that bath until it's
Oh,
cold.
really?
And I know
Wow.
I love a bath, and then I wake up and I'm like, I'm alive. And then my energy is
amazing.
back. I take some paracetamols, I lay in a hot bath for about an hour and a half, and then I come back. You know,
Do you swear by any particular hangover cures?
Just regular old painkillers and a good bath and plenty of water is literally probably the best way to go.
My migraine medication actually does clear hangovers pretty effectively
that's
too.
pretty good.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's sumatriptan, so I take that
Yeah.
sometimes if it's really bad. But I normally have a migraine when I have a hangover at the same time. So it's
And
just
confirmed.
why
yeah.
not?
Migraine
done this
hangover
every major event.
every Saturday. It's a real
Yeah,
bad
it's
migraine in the morning.
Pretty much, yeah. It's it makes me very tired, but it's definitely worth it.
If you
Simon,
can-
what is your home news?
I know. I was just going to say,
wanted to know
if you can spot Trip at a major event on a Sunday afternoon, then he's not done his job.
What are you saying?
Not saying anything.
Yeah.
What's my? I prefer like a sugar like.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
on the
it's like-
phone. Happens every time. Every
Oh,
time.
You need a new internet provider. What do you do?
And I swear it waits until Simon is going to give us like a very interesting story, and then it goes all glitchy. But
Go on.
try again, Simon.
like-
give it this again.
I get like 200 megs Virgin Media cable, so it's not too bad.
I don't know.
No
Just
idea.
Discord being rubbish, right? Like,
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, what's your hangover cure, Simon?
So I was saying, probably just like a black coffee, or sugary drink like Lucozade.
Oh, Lucas.
Just
But
But it starts the night before, right? So you've got to take some paracetamol and a pint or two of water before you go to bed.
is that what you're meant to
Pint of
do?
water. Pint of water.
Oh yeah, I have
do.
loads of water, but I don't have the
Yeah.
headache tablet.
I do tend to take them the night before and the morning. Anyway.
Okay.
Overkill, maybe. Who knows?
My wife used to make
you...
the hash brown sandwich, which is like bread. I
Yeah.
can't remember Faye's not here, but bread, cheese, tomato sauce, hash brown, tomato sauce, cheese, butter, bread. Boom. Bang it in.
That sounds great.
A big breakfast.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good way for
I
it.
used
Tom
to
Cardy's
do-
big breakfast. You should go and
I
check it
used
out.
to do 3 potato waffles and then a fried egg and bacon on top. That was my uni one.
Nice.
That's
Hash
good.
brown is
I
also
just
a
know-
great shout.
A Weatherspoon's full fry up is pretty good. Or
It's really
if you're really feeling quite sorry for
Day.
yourself, then a sausage and egg McMuffin.
Oh yeah. I used to
just
live next to
realised-
Tesco, so I just used to go and get 2
Yeah,
packets
fair
of
enough.
chicken and bacon wraps and a pot noodle, and just live it at home for a bit.
pot noodle. I don't know
Wow.
if I could handle.
Yeah,
That's
no,
lunchtime,
not
mate.
really.
I'm a fuck. Listen about.
Okay.
I'd have it. I have
chicken
them
curry
for
super
lunch
noodles for
sometimes.
lunchtime.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Simon, what was? Have you actually got home news?
Yeah, Simon.
Yeah, I do have some home news because it was my little girl's birthday this weekend.
Ah, was it a
so
murder
she had
mystery?
No,
Oh, right.
it was a Pokemon themed birthday
Oh,
party
I love it.
at our house, and there was a Pokemon Pokeball themed cake, which came out really well that my wife made,
Ooh.
baked.
Was it sponge or chocolate?
It was a plain Victoria sponge with strawberry jam in the
It's all
middle
good.
with buttercream. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
happy.
love a Victoria
And
sponge.
it looked like a Pokeball from the outside. It wasn't spherical. It was just a round cake. And then there were Pokemon figures on top. So it came out really well.
How old is she?
7.
Oh, that's
Scary.
We are now
age.
petering on the edge of see you later, cute child.
Is she a fan of the games, or does she play the card game?
No, she doesn't play the card game. She does collect the cards because I feed them to her as rewards for doing good stuff at home. But she's watched the cartoon, the original series cartoon. She enjoyed that, and now she plays on the Switch. Now we have one. She plays Let's Go
Scarlet?
Eevee, Pokemon Let's Go.
Oh,
Eevee.
you said about this 2 episodes ago.
And the best news, we basically got our whole family involved for her present, and she's been having drum lessons for a year now at school, and she now has an electric drum kit.
Nice.
So she is absolutely killing it on the drums, and just the fact that we've got it for her, she's so excited. She was like playing last night, playing this morning before school, playing tonight before bed. Like, she's absolutely loving it.
Oh, brilliant.
It's really good to see.
That's good, man.
That's really cool. I wish I'd learned an instrument when I was a kid. I never did.
Did you not?
No,
Simon, I think you told me, but you look like a bassist.
Yeah, I am a bassist. You're a bassist as well.
I am a bassist.
I think we've all got bass energy. I don't know how
bass
you
energy.
guys feel about that.
We're all funky guys.
No, I think we were having this discussion. No, we were having this discussion. Trip's the rock star, so Trip's the lead singer guitarist, and you've got two bassists on the band.
I don't know. If I've got to stay.
I could be the drummer.
You'd be the drummer.
I wouldn't mind drummer energy.
Oh,
I like the I like the bassist more. I like the bassist more. There's something about being.
No, Simon, I imagine you as keyboard. You're like you can.
Oh wow! I couldn't be as flamboyant enough for keyboard.
Oh no, dude, you could be. Trip is like you said, lead guitar. Don't give a shit. Whatever. I'm still hungover from the last gig, and he'll just go.
I'm going.
That's all you're getting, bitches. See you later.
I'm going for technically excellent at my role. Technically excellent at my role, but don't need the limelight. That's where I am.
You're just
safe in the knowledge. Safe in the knowledge that I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, you're Mr. Smooth. Gets up in the morning, has his coffee, really diligently works on his keyboard skills. Me, I don't know. It's the
Jazz Club, nice
drummer. See, Trip is even acting like a rock star now, and no one's even noticed if you see on YouTube. The man has had his haircut. But let's move on.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Hamish, what are you drinking ce soir?
Well, I've actually got a lager from Kettering.
That surprises no one.
Kettering lager.
Kettering lager. It is a lager brow, a Potbelly Pig.
Oh,
it is our local brewery, and they don't.
Is this the one you went to? Did you go to this place?
Yes, I did. I think, Christ, was this a while ago?
That was a long while ago.
Oh my god, that must have been near the start. Really yes, and there was a £25. You get fish and chips, and all you can drink.
Yeah,
so Potbelly Brewery.
That's really long ago.
That was a lot.
Yeah, amazing.
I can't believe you remember that. Well,
okay. I know, I can't believe it.
So, Simon, the brewery is Potbelly Pig, and it's 3.9% ABV.
Lovely.
APR.
Thank you.
What about you, Simon? What are you drinking?
APR. It's not APR. It's APV.
No, I know.
I am drinking a Brauer Neppelmunsen triple double. There you go.
What the fuck's that?
Oh wow! Look at that.
Look at this.
That looks cool. That's very trendy.
I've gone for it because it's 7.5% and is a triple hazy.
Guys are also strong beers.
A hazy DIPA.
Well, so hang on, mine's not strong. 3.9.
Oh, yours is all right.
Yeah, standard. What about you? Oh my god. What about you, Haircut Bloom?
Yeah, I mean,
running out of ideas.
I've got a Stone Brewery, which I
love Stone.
I knew you'd say this.
I think Buena Veta Salt and Lime Lager. It literally has salt and lime juice.
Your can looks so cool.
And it's like Day of the Dead. I've actually had one of these before recently, and it's I was a bit just like suspicious because it's actually got lime juice in it, but it's really, really good. And it's
don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Okay.
Yeah, Stone Brewery got a bunch of those.
It's a bit.
Hamish isn't feeling it.
I'm never feeling it. But I actually try beers. You just buy beers you like. Anyway, cheers, everyone.
Excuse me, I've never tried this one before. Cheers.
Okay, no, it's fine. Watery.
Oh, it's so good. This tastes like what that tequila beer you want it to taste
Desperados.
like, but it's always not quite as good as you think it's going to be. This
Look how hazy this one is. Look, that is like a milkshake.
It's literally like a
I can smell. There's 3 different hops in this. I can smell them.
Which are they? Name them.
Oh,
Name every hop.
We've got Citra, Sabro, and Azacoa.
What? Did you just read that off the cat?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Simon, what are we talking about today?
All right. So we have a little bit to work on because last time we recorded the podcast, it was like literally less than 24 hours before the big ban announcement. So we're not going to.
Now.
Am I talking about what we're doing today or not?
Oh, is it? You tell him, Simon.
All right, okay, I'll put down.
So yes, in short, we're looking at how, with relevance to Indianapolis yesterday, or last weekend, should I say?
Yeah.
How are the bands?
Why do we leave this to Simon? We should probably remove this job from Simon because his internet.
What? The thing is,
what are you talking about?
Your internet just went
again. Tried to stall, but it didn't work. Classic. You sound fine on Spotify. Try it again, Simon. Try it one more time.
Yeah.
People probably weren't listening, so you can repeat it.
Are we working now?
Yes, go quickly before it goes.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna look at are the bands relevant with respect to the Indianapolis event that we had this weekend. So what happened? Are the bands doing what they're supposed to do, and did we get any different results?
Yeah, good question.
Right,
that's a good one.
So just to recap the bands that happened a couple of weeks ago now. Hamish.
Sorry.
Pause.
No,
Take a moment.
We're good.
Go ahead.
We got some before we go deep in.
Oh,
we actually got something really big to announce before we go head and some toes into.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
we've been caught by the trap of getting so into our podcast.
Yeah,
that we forgot the biggest piece of news. The newest.
If you know us, this is probably slightly normal.
Right.
So Trip, you deliver it.
It's not even a bit.
It's Trip. Because I fear for Simon's internet ruining.
So we have some big news.
It's pretty big.
We were like, we're going to talk about it on this episode, and then we immediately started this episode, and we're like, we don't really have a huge amount to talk about. But we have some very big news. So we've been in discussion for a couple of weeks now about forming a kind of a partnership, kind of working in partnership with another Flesh and Blood entity. And that entity is Living Realms, the Flesh and Blood and other TCG store based up in Castleford near Leeds, who are responsible for organizing some of the most for most of the Premier events that we've had in the UK since the game started. We're all strong friends of Living Realms. Fabio is actually one of our patrons, so that makes things easier. But they reached out to us about forming a partnership, working together more closely, having more of a formal working relationship. And we talked about it with our patrons, with the people that support us financially, to get their input on it. And ultimately, we decided to go ahead with it. So you may see some stuff coming up from us in the future.
And you should see their little logo ping up right here.
Yeah, you're going to add the logo like now.
Yeah, that's it. And a little ding. Whatever.
We're really excited. This is kind of our first more formal. We're calling it a partnership. It's us. We have the podcast. We're going to help them out. They have, they're pretty much what the premier place for competitive Flesh and Blood and organizing competitive Flesh and Blood events in the country. They're going to give us a lot of support too. And hopefully we'll be able to pass on some of that to the fans of Push the Point, especially the patrons of Push the Point. They're getting a tasty discount code. The Living Realms patrons of the podcast will be getting that. And it's something we're really excited about. Maybe you guys can chime in about your thoughts on the direction we're going in with it and everything.
Go, Simon.
So yeah, first thing I want to say is thank you to the Living Realms crew for approaching us with this idea. We love what Living Realms do, and we love how much they push Flesh and Blood in the UK scene, and how supportive they've been of the UK community. What I would want to say to all of our listeners, though, is that just because we are partnering with a game store like Living Realms, it doesn't mean that our impartial views on Flesh and Blood and the way the game works and the way the community is received within the UK is going to change. None of that's going to change. But what will happen is our Patreons and our listeners will have access to certain giveaways and certain sort of supply crates and stuff that Living Realms are able to give us throughout the year. So we should be doing sort of a few more bits and bobs with the support of a game store that's well respected in the UK community. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's no literal, just means that we can do more. We can do more and give more, and we've got more resources within pretty much an amazing store that's done quite a lot for the game. So yeah, amazing news. Thank you so much, Living Realms, for wanting to come and basically back us, and us working together to see what we can do for the Fab community going forward.
So make sure, dear listeners, that you keep an ear out for the first sort of set of giveaways coming up around Outsiders release. So look out for some new content and look out for some big giveaways around that time.
Good time to be a patron. Keep saying it.
Yeah. And if you have any thoughts about it, like if you want to feedback, let us know. We basically went straight to the patrons when we found out that this was an option on the table. They gave us really positive feedback. That's what we really enjoy about our patron scheme, is that essentially we have this. I think they referred to themselves as us, like our stockholders, essentially.
Yeah.
Like we go to them and we basically give them propositions about what way we're taking the channel, and it's not like they're making the decision. Like ultimately, it's our podcast.
We're community led. Yeah,
we don't want to do anything that the community, our community, is not on board with. And Living Realms, we love them. Like I'm Simon. We used to play in their online armories. It was one of the first stores that I went to outside, like when lockdown ended, and some really good memories of working with them. And we're gonna see where this relationship takes us and see what opportunities come out of this. We've always said on Push the Point, we basically just take the opportunities that we're given, because we're all three of us pretty much in disbelief that we're even in this position that we're in, though it's not even that big, but like it's crazy what we're able to do. So we're just going to keep going on this ride together, which is really cool.
It is really
cool. And if you do become a Patreon, as we've said, our Patreons get a bit of a tasty discount for Living Realms online store. And if you sign up, that discount is eligible for outsider pre-orders. So
I'm just saying, if you're buying anything from Living Realms,
yeah,
it's like $3. You might as well join.
And the discount code will be active as long as you are a Patreon of the podcast. When you leave, unfortunately, you no longer have access to that discount.
Should we get on with the topics?
It
is exciting. On. But we should
be glad we remembered.
Yeah.
Glad I reminded you. It's one good thing probably done.
Okay, so let's start then by just how did everyone feel that the calling in Indianapolis came across? Because I watched some of the coverage by Man Stamp and I was impressed by the coverage that he had going on, the number of cameras he had, the audio quality was fairly decent, and they had a good set of commentators actually. They had a good rotation of commentary bods, so I was really impressed with how he handled that casting.
Yeah, I would say that the Ethan did an amazing job, mate. Considering that you pretty much got all the resources down there to get it all running, seeing that photo and all the stuff that you've got running in the background, it's absolutely sick. And Ethnic Smoke and Sam O'Brien from the new channel Free Floating Bros, you guys did a fantastic job on entertaining and keeping all of us just on
Absolutely.
track.
Yeah.
And like I said, I made a tweet on this that Sam O'Brien from Free Floating, like I said, I knew Mansant and Ethnic Smoke would deliver like a really, really, really good job. I just didn't know this. I thought, who's this guy? Is he from Free Floating? Oh, wow. And then I was just like, bro, this guy's actually really good. He's like come out of nowhere. Really, really, really good caster. So yeah, so on that front, made him.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fantastic. I think with casting, it's really important to remember that the person who is casting the person that is doing the stream is actually giving up quite a lot to do that. Like
huge amount.
It's a major calling in your country. Like you basically can't play. Like that's a huge sacrifice that you already have to make, and you're kind of committing to not being able to be you are there, but you can't be sort of fully in the room. You can't be walking around as much, meeting and greeting as much as you might want to otherwise, because you have to run the stream. And I just think anyone who is willing to do that is giving a lot to the community, which I think is fantastic. And we actually did an interview recently with Sean Bugalugs of Armory Knights, who's been doing streams in the UK. And it was a similar kind of thing where we were, he loves to play the game. You don't you don't stream Flesh and Blood unless you love playing Flesh and Blood. I hope and know from the people that do it. And it just means that you can't take part in the actual tournament. So I think it's really cool that Mansant was doing that, and the people that got involved with doing that. And ultimately, I don't know, what they got in return for providing the service. Like there's been a lot of talk about this. Hopefully, it was something that they were happy with. I think that's all I would want, is that they came out this weekend, and maybe they'll
they were
comment on
sponsored
this.
by LSS, so it's not been
like as long as they're happy and they feel like that they got what they deserved, and I'm not saying that they didn't. I think that would be really good. But yeah, like
the actual games.
The games, I dropped in and out of the streams over the weekend, and I enjoyed it. I like to see. Maybe Simon, why don't you comment on the some of the games that you saw?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the first game actually, which was an Azalea versus Bravo. I thought seeing Azalea on stream first up was
so cool.
It was really cool actually. And watching that play out was it's nice to see Azalea doing well. And I think people who dismiss Azalea still are in denial. I think she's doing a lot better, and Outsiders will be really good for her.
Decent tier 2 hero.
I also looked at.
What?
I also looked at.
It was true though. Get games.
I also enjoyed the Matt Rogers Dash versus Fi game.
Oh
but
man, that was
that was mainly
cracked.
because of that ridiculous turn. But yeah, again, there were a number of games I saw that were Briar, Fi, Dash, that all came very close at the end. I didn't see as much Oldham on the first day stream as I thought I was going to, and that was probably for the best because he dominated the second day and the top 8.
There was a lot, but he didn't win
apart from Hamilton. Yeah.
The GOAT literally rocked up. That guy.
I love the Twitter sphere now. It's like, who's going to reach Living Legend first, Briar or Michael Hamilton?
Michael Hamilton has 750 Living Legend points.
That's insane.
I was going to say there was an old debate on who's the best. Do you remember that? And it was this big debate between Michael Hamilton and Pablo Podenco. I think now it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that he is a bit of a beast now.
I do think Michael Hamilton is the best. But I do want to highlight one tweet I saw in relation to that argument, which was like, America gets a lot more tournaments than we do.
It does.
It's to be expected. And like, obviously, Worlds was in America as well. And I recognize that traveling to the West Coast is a long distance for a lot of the American players too, but it's a really long distance for, our lads from Poland, our lads from the UK. You can't really expect them to be playing at their absolute peak in those situations too. I'm not
we're not just saying your ears are good. He is.
He definitely is.
He definitely is. I would at least, and if anyone wants, it's undeniable now. At least if anything, he is 100% the best player in America, right? And he from the amount, and he's won Worlds. He's won 3 callings now.
I don't even
more
know
than that. I think,
but the fact that he
And
won
he's
Worlds,
he's national champion, isn't he?
and he's national champion.
Yeah, it's undeniable, right? That he's clearly the best player in the world. But your argument trip is absolutely valid.
What
If
I'm
we
saying,
got as
Hamish,
much as them and Pablo or whoever was winning all of that stuff as well, it would have
Look,
been
it's not even winning. I think there's a huge amount to be said for regularly competing in that level of event.
Yes.
yeah.
In
But
terms of
we're
how
not putting it down, Michael.
No, absolutely not. I'm just
No,
saying that there have been 2 callings in Europe. There have been
Once a blitz.
10 callings in America, something crazy. I don't know the exact figure. We'll have to check. But
You're
having
just
that,
going to say 10.
yeah, having that regular
And a Worlds.
exposure to that
And
and a Pro Tour,
And a Pro Tour.
having that regular exposure to that level of event is huge.
Yeah.
Actually, Europe's had 3 callings because there was one at the Pro Tour Lille.
No. Does that count?
count.
Yeah. Does the Pro Tools ones count? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, maybe they do.
All I'm saying is he might be able to do it, in America, but can he do it on,
Bro, if he wins Pro Tour Baltimore, like it's just like okay.
That's still in America.
Yeah, I know, but my point is, but the Pro Tour is still that's going to have a lot of people internationally rock up to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think to solidify it, I think get him over.
Everyone. Now this time,
what we need, guys, is calling Northampton, cold, rainy Northampton. Can he do it? Can he?
Can he beat? If you can take Northampton down,
the sleet's coming down. It's -2 degrees.
Let's see if he can handle this.
This isn't non-league football, lads.
Can he still? Can he do it? Can he
do it?
There's a bunch of people in the stands shouting abuse at him.
We need Ryan Reynolds takes on Wrexham football.
Can it happen? Can he do it?
Can you do it?
I think he can do it.
I think he could.
He can do it.
I think he could.
Believe
right. So,
well, okay, go back.
We've given away the spoiler.
What?
That
he
actually
won. Yeah,
Icelander won the calling.
Well, that's not really a spoiler. I think everyone knows.
I think everyone knows that.
Considering that, wait. Considering that 7 out of the top 8 heroes were ice heroes, a mix of Oldham and Icelander. The other one was Briar, who was piloted by Tarek.
I was rooting for Tarek to win.
Yeah, I think
I want to see Briar get the living legend, and that actually feels like it'll be a big shake-up again. Maybe.
However, how do we feel about the bans? Just to remind you, Belittle was banned, Winter's Whale was banned, Amulet of Ice was suspended until Icelander Living Legends, and Hypothermia was suspended until Icelander Living Legends. So, how do we? I mean, Winter's Whale is huge. That obviously changed Oldham's game plan, but they've adapted, as we saw with our recent interview.
They didn't with
Yorgos.
To be honest, I think they just did the exact same stuff.
There is a game plan without Winter. Yeah, exactly.
But this is the exact same stuff, but just lost a better weapon. But they did the same stuff.
But they're still strong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Icelander has lost a couple of key tools, but again, has the strength to power through with a game plan that was developed by Michael Hamilton anyway.
Yeah.
He plays that deck better than anyone else because he made the deck, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what was the ban list effective? What was the ban list trying to achieve? Like that's the real question we have to ask ourselves. Like what was the point of the ban list? Like was it to diversify the meta? In which case, I don't know. Like if you look at the top 16, top 32, there's quite a lot of decks out there. It's the Oldhams made it into the top 8. That's cool. Like
someone actually posted up what that was. And
I think
Azalea made the top 32.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what to say. Like I think people focus on these really high profile calling worlds, Pro Tour top 8s, and they look at them and they think, oh my God, how am I going to play against that? And it's like, guys, guess what? You're not going to play against that. You're going to play against your local armor, very local meta, which is probably going to be 60% Fi. I don't know, like, what is it a problem? I'm not sure. I tweeted earlier today in response to a poll, which was like, do we need to do something about this? And I was just like, Let's just wait until Outsiders comes out. Let's
Yeah.
play a bunch of Outsiders. If it's still a problem, then maybe we do something about it. I guess the real question is why do we even bother with the ban list? Like, maybe we just shouldn't have bothered. Like, the less bans, the better, as far as I'm concerned. The more
No,
they
Belittle
leave.
had to go.
I do actually think that was probably the necessary ban, and then they felt that they needed to do something to course correct that. I actually think maybe they should have just been like, "Screw it, get rid of belittle." Like,
No, I think
it
I
was
honestly think
big,
that
and then leave the meta and then
So
the Outsiders sort it out.
when I read the ban list announcement, it reading the pros, it made sense. Like the justifications and wanting to shake up the meta a bit and have a bit of variety made sense in my head. Reading the reason for Winter's Whale going because of its interactions with Stalagmite and Ram's Head, and being a super strong weapon with way above curve effects, that made sense. The hypothermia, the Amulet of Ice, suspension for Icelander made sense. But do I think it's actually done anything? Like, no, not really. I think Oldham and Icelander are still strong. Ice is still very strong. And I think the only thing that has changed anything is now Fi has stopped becoming the gatekeeper for the aggro decks without Belittle because we saw a lot more Briar and a lot more Dash playing around.
Bro, you know how I do not agree with that. Fi is still gatekeeping everyone. He is still gatekeeping everyone. He's so stopping Rhinar or anyone just going, oh, look at all these Oldhams and Icelanders. Look at look who can just trash them.
When I say Fi
because
is
of Fi.
gatekeeping, no. When I say Fi is gatekeeping, he's not. It's not that he is gatekeeping other aggro decks, or he was. Like I think Fi is still very consistent, but I think the Royal Briar decks and some of the Dash aggro decks we've seen over the weekend have actually pushed Fi down a bit. Like I think although he's not running into those decks necessarily, he struggles more against Icelander.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like the belittle package is really good. Don't get me wrong. Like I
talk about my little package.
I as much as I don't want to agree with that Fire's gatekeeping the meta.
Oh, well, 2 weeks later, he's caught up.
I know he's back on it now. Look,
I do agree that I don't think the losing belittle is stopping Fi from fulfilling its role of being a really great deck. Like it's still sick. Like it's still really strong. Because the fact of the matter is, we put belittle in to beat Icelander. And then it turned out it was pretty good anyway. You ended up main decking it most of the time. But actually, there's better cards. Like you still have to pitch to play belittle, and that kind of means you're like it's not the.
You could just have a head jab 3 for the 0 go again.
I will say,
right? Like
I will say, in order to not feel like we're going over a topic that is going to be better explained by some
the newest video
we got which you probably have. Well, this is going to be already out before this comes out, but we have got a Fi and Icelander video that is explained by George Rogers, who is the UK national champion and Bazillion ProQuest winner with Fi, and Jacob Hand with Icelander. So I will recommend check those. Jacob Clements, sorry, not Jacob Hand. God, sorry, Jacob. So awkward.
Jacob Clements came
top to the podcast.
Me too at the Worlds.
Clements.
Sorry, Jacob Clements.
He knew he came up to me and said, "I heard you were chatting about me getting kicked off my Oxford course, so I just want to bring that up again."
Oh, right, yeah, he does listen. So
it's a lovely lad.
Go check that video out. Now, I'm going to say it's been a week. Right, 2 things. It's been a week since the ban and restricted announcement came out. I know that Shin, he's probably not going to listen to this, is going to say, yes, but they're still doing their same thing. It's been really well, put together about what Oldham and Icelander can do. So why would these bans change what they can do too much? Winter's Whale and everything wasn't really key things that were going to stop these heroes doing what they're going to do. But I still think for every other hero, it's been a bloody week. What were you going to work out? What weird, crazy magic was going to happen? The best players in America decided to stay on the heroes that they feel most comfortable playing. And lo and behold, the best players still brought the same heroes they were bringing that were happy with last time and did really good results with it. But we're blaming the heroes. But Michael Hamilton isn't changing course. No, but Michael Hamilton didn't change course. Tarek Patel was the only one that went, I'm going to give Briar a run. And run he did.
I don't think we're giving the players enough credit if we're saying that they saw the ban list and were like,
no, but they obviously no. The players, no. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that these are the best players in the world, and they didn't want to move from their heroes.
Yeah, but
it's been a week.
But they adapted to the ban list announcement.
I don't think it's fair. I don't know this, but my assumption is that those players have been testing the shit out of the new ban list, and they've going in their testing groups and they're looking at.
But they don't need to make anything radical. I don't think because the ban losing.
I think at this level, like we're talking about the top level, right?
Top of the top, yeah.
I think they're not changing heroes because some of them did, but most of them did not change heroes. That's fine. That's a really radical change if you've decided what you think the best hero in the meta is. And I don't think the ban list is there to make people necessarily. The ban list intention was not to kill Oldhim or to kill Icelander. Kind of killed Fire a little bit, but it was an intention to kill Fire. But it was definitely there to ask those top players, right, what small changes can I make to adapt to this meta? And I think we definitely saw some minor small changes at that level. It's all incremental. It's the smallest.
Oldhim did make a radical change, didn't he? We've now seen these super duper I only heal Oldhim decks.
Fatigue Oldhims, yeah.
Yeah, they just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And Imperial Warhorn is now a real thing.
Would you like to explain why you believe Fi is struggling against Fatigue Oldhim?
No, not in public.
Come on. Simon's dragging you into the public.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think maybe it's not being played to its optimum way. Like, I've not played enough Oldhim matches. And also, everyone in the UK plays aggro Oldhim, so you never get the chance.
That's true. We don't. You're right.
We don't really do Fatigue Oldhim.
I'd love to hear from 5 players. If you're up against Fatigue Oldhim, what's happening that's stopping you from winning that game? Because
maybe it's Icelander, right?
No, against Fatigue Oldhim. Like, you must be able to pitch stack in a way that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's disruption that I'm not aware of. Like, I've not played these games. It just feels to me that you should be able to set something up with Fi and just do triple Art of War and.
No, I don't even know if it's going to be a triple Art of War move. I think it just you probably just go through the motions of doing these huge turns to get them low, and then you kind of can get into this bit of an endless loop of, tack, that, bat, done, and you can just keep going through an endless loop of
what you need is Kodachis.
I mean, I know.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. To be honest.
Anymore. And it's really good because most of them run stalagmites, so actually, it's,
I know that George is pretty much, well, like I said, go check the video out. He's gone back to that switchblade thing, but I don't. I think a lot of people massively overreacted, but I will say that the Winter's Whale, which if you haven't listened to 0 to 60 podcast, you should. They made a really good point of.
Good podcast.
They banned Winter's Whale to get around the fact that really seeds is the problem. But they can't, but because of their policy of legendaries, they don't want to ban seeds. So let's just take Winter's Whale out. That should curb Oldhim down a bit. But really, it's not Winter's Whale that's it's a very good weapon, but that's not really the problem. It's Crown of Seeds. And it's still here and he's still doing its thing. It's still an extremely powerful card. It's, it's the curse of your legendary policy, but you've made a legendary too good.
I'm just going to say my preference with any game is always, I would much rather them print more cards than ban cards. And like if they, and we saw this, them saying that they think in Outsiders there's going to be tools, there's going to be options that's going to make Crown of Seeds less effective. If that's the case, I'm very happy because I'm very much of the opinion that banning I really dislike this kind of attitude, and I'm sorry if this is your opinion, but like I dislike this attitude of like, oh my god, look at the top 8. We need to fix the meta with a ban. I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't want that at all. I want the game to just print cards, print sets, and the meta to shift. Like look at some of these heroes that like have never had their like that come in and out of the meta. All the people were playing Icelander when it was like and it wasn't that great, and then now
Same
it's a lot
cards,
better, and like
literally. Yeah.
and it just it gives heroes time in the spotlight, and like there are certain situations where I think LSS should have acted sooner. I think Starvo is probably the classic example. I think but it's not
He
about.
almost got to Living Legend too quickly for even them, though. They had no chance to.
No, I think they basically turned around and went,
Yeah,
let's just let this boy Living Legend out of there.
and that's what I like. That's one of the things I
Yeah.
like about the game. If something is too good, it will go.
Rectify
Do you know
eventually.
what I think? Sorry, I'll end it on this point. I think
Yeah.
it's because Dynasty never really did anything.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
So-
It didn't do anything,
And
so
my
we're still
question to
living
you
in
then-
Uprising world.
Do we
Yeah.
think? What do we
boring.
think about the perception that the game power level built and built and built through Arc, Monarch, Crucible up to TOA, where TOA was
Cracked.
there were some cards. There were some
No,
cards
the
in
whole
TOA.
set is cracked.
Tales of Aria that just broke
Do you
things.
remember
And-
Awakening?
Yeah. Well,
That
no,
was
this is what I'm saying. So,
pain.
so
All
Tales of Aria
lightning.
was crazy good, right?
Broken.
And since then, the power level has been dialed back. So the cards that have been released since then
Just,
aren't really used
You're right.
because
You're right.
TOA cards are so good. So
Yeah.
how do we feel about the current level of? Do we think that's an adequate repair for power creep? Do we think things have been okay recently, or do we think that actually they've set themselves up for a bit of a long repair job?
Tales of Aria is in my opinion, a long repair job. That I think that no matter once let's just make it so Briar will live in Legend quite soon. Right? It wouldn't even at worst case scenario during the Road to National season, I can foresee Briar going, right? But it's safe to say the end of the year she's going. And let's just pretend Oldhim does as well, right? Even though he gets to every top 8 and never wins, but he will see a load of him, and let's just say he does. He makes it, right? He's Living Legend out. It will be Lexi next. It will be Voltaire as a problem. Like if Outsiders have printed out some huge major like buff cards for Ranger, Lexi's Voltaire weapon will be a problem. And it's just because the way this whole Tales of Aria set has been whipped up and put together, the whole thing is just crazy good. Crazy good. So I do think we're going to see this for a little while. And then I don't know.
Lexi's I think that's a really interesting take, and I don't actually disagree with it. Like I think it's really interesting though, because I don't think anyone's
You didn't disagree with Hamish?
I don't disagree with Hamish.
Jeez, wow.
Episode 43. We've done it, everyone.
Coin a phrase.
It's really interesting. You could kind of argue that the almost the ranger tax of being a ranger is a bit. It's like a fair amount. The fact you don't have a weapon, card to do anything. You need probably 2 cards to do anything. And yet Lexi still performs really well, really high, because Voltaire is absolutely
cracked.
Like sometimes you're just playing against a Lexi. You're just like, how are you doing all this
it's
stuff?
So
you go again. You're doing everything +1.
The only thing that's curbing this hero down is because she's a ranger, that is literally. But she is nutty. Her attacks are nutty. She is literally the epitome of I go wide and I disrupt the hell out of you. It's the worst 2 bits.
Do you think
Tails really is crazy?
Tails is bonkers.
That has influenced LSS's propensity or inclination to release talented heroes?
What do those words even mean?
I actually think a lot of the issues.
That's Tales of Aria for you.
So there's a few things, Simon. I think the fuse mechanic is a really interesting one because it should be a downside, but in a game where you have an arsenal, actually, it's not a
Yeah,
lot.
but
But it's
sorry,
kind of weird. I don't actually think the
elemental
fusing
heroes. I
part.
said talented heroes,
That's
right?
in it, but everything is given an additional effect because it's not the only thing. Don't get me wrong. Before you judge me and say that I'm saying that
Before
mechanic
you
is the reason
start
why Tails is, but it's
judging
just
me.
an addition. It's just an additional effect that these heroes have, which I don't think is taxed well enough. And then it's these majestic weapons.
Oh, these
Not all of
weapons.
them. Amazingly, Rosetta is not a majestic weapon.
Should
No,
be.
it's
I know
not.
the
No.
only majestic the weapon they did get got banned before it even showed up.
Yeah. So all of the
That's how busted it
That's
was.
how
Yeah.
broken it was.
And then you have just these one-off cards which you just look at and you're just like, "Ball lightning.
Jesus.
How the hell did that?"
Yeah.
Awakening.
Awakening. How
Awakening.
did that get through?
Dumbest
And
thing
then
ever.
you look at Briar's original hero ability.
There
It's
is
like, yeah,
just
my non-attack should block for 9. Like,
yeah. There's 2 blocks for 5. You got a sink below. Must be nice.
I know we were going to move on, but like, just
No, I don't want to
actually,
move on because this is too much fun.
when you talk about it, when you actually like articulate some of the stuff that's in the set, it's just like,
Yeah.
the hell
Channel
am I
Mount
talking-
Heroic.
Channel Mount Heroic's in there.
Channel Lake Frigid.
No,
Right?
but do you know what they
Full
did mess up
lightning.
on? Channel Thunderstep. Like,
Okay.
whoever needs that card.
It's time.
The weakest channel. It'll be
Because
back.
purely they don't need it because they've got so much go again built in. Right?
Exactly.
They don't
That's what I mean.
need to have this.
You've
But
got embodiments. You've got
I'm telling you
Voltaire,
now.
you've got,
I'm telling
who
you
needs
now.
it?
I'm telling you now. They make a lightning hero, right? And then everyone will go, "Well, we just didn't need all this go again." And now you just suddenly this. And if you actually read what Channel Thunderstep does, it gives any action go again, right?
If
You pay 1, right? Yeah.
So if you pay 1, you give any action go
Pay
again.
1. Yeah,
Yeah.
pay 1.
But
Okay.
that's the thing. It's like this is potentially.
So it costs
an
2,
OTK,
and then you pay
right?
1 per
Okay,
go.
to be honest,
the thing
out of
about it.
all the things they've done, it's probably like the weirdest, fairest one. But whereas all the
don't
other
know,
ones
though,
had
because
just passive effect. It just went, I'm here, I do my
Yeah,
thing, and I'll go when I'm done, right? And it's +3 or everything costs more. And that one is just, oh no, you've got to start paying for it. And you've got to try and keep me going.
But this is what
I think it's just.
This is what I was trying to.
one day.
No,
This
it'll
is
be a
what I was
light.
trying to
I'm
get
telling you
to.
now, lightning wizard.
Yeah.
They'll
No.
make a lightning wizard, and it's like
Yeah.
go again actions.
This is what I was trying to get
Yeah.
to because we've
Yeah.
had like we've had Chain, Shadow Hero, we
Yeah, Chain was
Starvo,
cracked.
Elemental Hero.
Oh,
They've all lived into that,
Starvo.
right?
He epitomized
So,
the entirety of Tales of Aria.
Do we think that we're now seeing expansion sets or sets like Everfest and Dynasty without talents in just because the power level of the talent system is not under control yet?
Well, I don't know if I completely agree with that because
that's what I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to answer you. So
I don't completely agree with your open-ended question, Simon. How dare
Yeah, well.
you?
So Draconic, if you actually look at it, Draconic is a proven point that talent side of things works fine. So is Monarchs as well, because you can look at Bolton and you can look at Levia. And yes, they've got a bit of a downside to it, but the actual talent having access to very specific cards that meet a theme is not a problem, right? And Tales of Aria's actual Earth cards and stuff like that, it's not really a massive problem. It's just their hero design and their weapons, and really their passive stuff that can just keep on the board. Like Oldhim has proven that actually permanents on the board make a huge difference. Stuff like Crowns of Seas, stuff like their shield that they can make, and the ability to always be able to activate this particular trigger throughout the entire game is actually it's the strongest point about the heroes, right? And all of the Tales of Aria ones are pretty crazy, but it's not the talent system that's the problem. It's the permanents that are on the board, and that's a very Magic the Gathering terminology of this. It's basically the hero abilities and the armor and equipment, and the items and the things that just don't go away. They're there for you to use the entire time. It's actually the balance of it all.
It's a really interesting question. I think you can go into it a lot of depth, and like
I know.
I think like the thing about the talents is like you look at some heroes like Fi and you think, oh, they must be they're so strong because they have access to more cards. If you can like compare Fi and
Yeah,
Katsu,
yeah.
like the fact that Fi has access to all of these 0 cost 3 red go again cards with 0 condition and a bunch of 1 cost 4 go again cards with a plus. It just makes
Mm.
Fi a better hero. Like Katsu would kill for some extra go again or some,
And he
banish
gets access to an
+1.
extra card per
But
turn.
but I
With
will
Phoenix
say they
Wright, yeah?
don't. But they don't run
But
it.
then, what do you mean? They do.
Well, Fi doesn't run
Fi does.
head jabs and leg taps.
No,
And...
no, no. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Oh,
Katsu would love to have more just unconditional go
More
again,
go
just
again.
to let
Yeah.
things out. But then you have the flip side, which is that Fi not only gets all of these great draconic cards, it also gets the cream of the crop of ninja cards. It gets Mask 1, it gets Mask 2, and those are great cards that
Yeah.
could just slot into Fi. Now I know this is completely unrelated, but I do think that they may have made a slight design mistake with Fi, which is that I think Fi just could have just been a draconic hero. I think you could build, if you actually look at the current Fi build, there's not that many ninja cards, or sorry, I should say untalented ninja cards in it anymore. It could have just been that they just made all of those cards draconic and fixed Dramai somehow, or made Fire Samurai or something and just printed Draconic Samurai instead. And like, I think LSS is starting to get a little bit that they don't necessarily need to make every hero a class that already exists. We saw this with a little bit with the Emperor, where they started to mix 2 classes together. We joke that the Emperor would have been a Rune Blade if it wasn't such a meme at the time for LSS to keep
No,
printing.
but that was
Rune Blade.
intentional with the class cards available, right? So
yeah, and
and the fact
maybe
that
they'll think about it more.
and the fact that his deck building restriction is only red cards.
But I also think that we get on the talent a lot. Essentially, a talent is just like have 30 or 40 extra cards that you can choose for when you make your deck, and that is an advantage. Like,
It
can't
is.
really get around that. But at the same time, I don't think it's as impactful as people make it out to be.
The
I
thing that
actually,
made me
again, agree with Hamish. It's more about the weapon. It's more about these broken stuff they printed
yeah.
in Tales, as
Well,
we were just
the thing
chatting.
that
Like,
made me ask this
Crown
whole
and
discussion
yeah.
from the start was actually one of our Patreons popped in our Discord today and said it's almost as if Tales of Aria was only tested within Tales of Aria. Like, if you'd have tested it outside of the set, you would have realized how busted it was. Now, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's 100% true, but I think there was definitely a focus on that set and Monarch being the set before not having any crossover.
So smaller team tested it during the times of COVID.
Yeah, it was lockdown.
I think they, the safety net was definitely not as as it is now. And I think Dynasty has shown this is what happens when you've got a bigger team and you actually were able to test this. And you actually got a lot of cards that turn around and go, oh, that's decent. And it's fair. That's good. Good design, everyone.
It's on curve.
You've got some old shit that's completely unfair. And it's like, yeah, sorry, bros. But don't worry, it will matter later. We just got to deal with this.
Yeah, it will.
And even some of the stuff that we were like, how good is that? Like Diabolic Ultimatum.
Or that's come into its own now, hasn't it?
It's like, oh, it's kind of cool.
What a niche card, I know.
But niche cards is sometimes it's kind of what these sets should be. Like, they went the complete opposite way with Everfest, where they printed all these blue prism auras. Well, they weren't prism auras, these blue auras that completely blew up the format. And it's like, is that what we want from our supplementary sets? Maybe. I don't know.
My final wrap-up thought of this is that I think that we're slowly... I feel like every set that's coming out afterwards is definitely better than the last. That makes sense? Where in terms of the power level of things. But
absolutely,
I will say, Outsiders will kind of prove to me a little bit more about their creativity of designing heroes, with a little bit more focus around the toning down on the power level. Obviously, these heroes, when they got their full power, they're bloody fun. They are bloody fun to play. Like, not to play against, but to play. When Chain was in his haymaking days,
beautiful.
It was fun to play this, but you knew it was broken. And then when Briar and everyone just had their full whack of have it all, was actually good fun to play, but that's what they were probably working on. They're like, oh god, this is so much fun to do. All this, god, look how insane this can get. And it just turns out it's actually miserable in a tournament setting. But
yeah, they were maturing. The game is maturing, and I think we can wrap it up here, and we can just say like.
Oh, so
I
want to finish on 2 points. One to sum up what we just, or one to wrap up what we just said. And I know there have been a few people leaving the game, a very small minority leaving the game because of some issues with organized play announcements and
they do need to get that shit sorted
and stuff at the higher level of play. However, I haven't heard of anyone leaving the game because of gameplay issues. Like, the game is still incredibly fun to play, and every week I turn up at my armory and I play 3 or 4 games with other people who are passionate about the game, and it is a great place to be. I think the game is in a fantastic place, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. As Hamish says, I think they're repairing the damage they've done. Now, looking forward, I am so excited. I am it's just ridiculously excited about limited play in Outsiders, because I think the dynamic of having 2 heroes per class, having cross-class cards, and having a bigger pool to play with, especially for sealed, which has been a bit of a limiting factor in limited play.
Sure.
I think sealed in outside. No, hear me out. I think Outsiders and sealed is going to be phenomenal, because there will be so many options depending on what your pool of cards contains.
Well, tell us, guys at home, tell us what you think about whether you think Outsiders sealed is going to be phenomenal. I also think it's good. That's a bold take from Simon,
I don't agree. I think sealed is sealed.
We'll save that. We'll save that for next time. I think
draft though.
We're getting close to Outsiders pre-release now. I mean, we're a month away.
I can't wait to not get a spoiler.
People can vote on it. Yeah.
Right.
It's been
Let's say thank you.
Fantastic episode. If you like what we do, consider becoming a patron, get access to that Living Realms discount. And again, tell us what you think about the fact that we will be partnering with Living Realms and doing some exciting work with them. It's been a lovely episode as always. Thanks for joining us.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
Later.